Okay, everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino. This is my post-market wrap-up on this Wednesday, December 18th, 2019, and wouldn't you know it, the NASDAQ closed at yet another record high. Not so much for the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the S&P 500, which finished fractionally in the red. Crude oil got pumped up a little bit. We did cross $61 a barrel. No surprise to you if you follow this blog. Cryptocurrencies did catch a bid today. I still believe there is a downward pressure here because of the environment we are in. Precious metals finished about flat. Okay. Look, what I want to talk about here is the PSYOP. Do you know what a PSYOP is? Let me define this for you right here. Pay attention to this, and I want you to think about the environment we are in. I want you to contemplate this whole impeachment charade. Understand, you're being told what to do and where to look. It's a major distraction. It is a PSYOP. So pay attention. Here we go. PSYOP are operations to convey selected information and indicators to audiences to influence their emotions, motives, and objective reasoning, and ultimately the behavior of governments, organizations, groups, and individuals. Now look, unless you are deaf, dumb, and blind, you realize that we are living in times that we have never seen before. There is something so ugly and so dark underneath this that it really, if you ponder it long enough, you have no choice but to actually be frightened. That's the truth. Everything is fake. Understand this, and I don't care what anyone says. Perception is not reality. It isn't. There are those that do believe that what people perceive as reality is. It's just not so. And there is a magnificent, I don't even know the word, an incredible effort to keep people distracted, to keep them focusing on one thing when they should be looking at another. Now, with regard to this market, I mean, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable things are occurring here. Things that we cannot even believe are going on. Distortions across the spectrum of asset classes. Bubbles like we've never seen. Nothing comes close. No previous financial bubble in history comes close, and I mean close, to the debt bubble now engulfing the earth. And that debt bubble has inflated a stock market bubble, a housing bubble, has caused malinvestments across the spectrum of asset classes so immense that even a guy like me has a hard time getting his head around it. And I study this stuff 24/7. We don't hear about from anyone, our politicians on either side of the aisle, about what the Federal Reserve is doing, how they are coordinating with the government of the United States. They are the government, to issue in more debt. This is their end goal. This is not just the Fed. This is every single central bank around the world. And guess where you are? You're in the middle of it. They got you surrounded, literally surrounded. You will be caught in a crossfire, whatever it might be. It's over. Okay, this is what they're doing. All the central banks in the world are fixated, along with their collective leader, like Donald Trump, to inflate the debt, inflate it. They must become the lenders and buyers of last resort. They already have nations, the United States, the largest debtor nation in the history of the world, as a slave. People here in our country are also slaves. People around the world under the rule of a central bank being forced to use their currency, transact in their currency. Their debt notes are all slaves. All of us. Okay. Now, what we're seeing here today with this impeachment thing, this is a PSYOP. Understand what it is, and I've explained this for weeks. This is a method here to keep you distracted, to keep you divided. It's a divide and conquer mechanism. And if you were to look at the president's Twitter feed right now, he's pumping it too. Pumping it. I'm the victim. Look what they're doing to me. You must defend me. If you believe that the president is not involved in this PSYOP and he knows exactly what's going on, you are deluded. You are beyond deluded. There is one party and one agenda, and I can promise you, none of it is to benefit you whatsoever. The cults that are now out in full force, the religion of politics, that's what it has become, and people don't just practice it on Sunday. They are now at each other's throats. This is their game plan, to keep the people here in the United States divided. How else do you believe they can only conquer us via this mechanism? If we understand the game, if we understand the PSYOP that is going on here, then you can break out of it. But there are some that are so locked into this. Again, the cult. These are cults. These are religions of politics that they will defend to their death. They have no choice. You understand? This is why I've been explaining to you, free your mind, free thought, free action, free movement. That's what it's all about. If you let these PSYOPs rule you, well, then you're a bigger slave than most people are. I would be willing to bet that the people that follow my blog are not slaves. They have freed their minds. They have free movement, free thought, and free action. This whole thing, the market is a PSYOP, and this is being done by design to inflate this bubble as big as they can, only to foster in a wipeout, a total wipeout of the middle class, to create that two-tier society I've been explaining since forever. That's what we have here. There virtually is no members of the middle class left. It's the truth. Again, if you look back on history, a member of the middle class generally did very well. They didn't have to struggle. They weren't working themselves to death. They didn't carry a terrible debt load. That's not what's going on here in the United States today. It is the formation of a two-tier society. The central bank, the Federal Reserve, is getting everything it's worked for over the past multiple decades. That is being allowed to issue more debt. The more debt they issue, the stronger they become. Their goal is to become the lenders and buyers of last resort. They want to own the world. The banks, the central banks around the world that are continue to issue debt that can never be paid back. And it's never meant to be paid back. It's only so they can own everything. And these same banks are owned by the same entities. You know this, okay? You are caught in a PSYOP. When you wake up in the morning, you're caught in a PSYOP. Your entire day is a PSYOP. When you go to sleep at night, you're probably dreaming about the PSYOP. And the cults right now that are at each other's throat, they're playing right into the PSYOP with this impeachment thing, and they're being pushed by the president. They're being pushed by the Democrats. This is a divide and conquer mechanism that we have seen since time immemorial, and it's playing out in real time. That's where we are, period. I really wanted to cover this because I think it's important for you to understand that you're not living in reality at all. You're living in a PSYOP. And you have got to free your mind. Again, free thought, free action, free movement. You are free. You understand that? They are trying to enslave you, not just through this debt mechanism, but they want to own your mind as well. Don't let that happen to you, please. This guy here loves you. Please share the video. We'll talk more about the markets in the morning.